Hey everyone! It's 2017! I hope you guys had an excellent New Year celebration or not. Like, if you just decided to stay home, that's cool. Totally understand that. We did a gaming plus alcohol kind of thing. So we had fun. Um, but now it's time to talk about goals and resolutions or whatever you want to call them. Um, yeah. So I'm going to go over what happened last year just a little bit because I didn't make a separate video for that. And I just never even updated about my progress through that. And I wanted to kind of wrap that up. So let's do that first. So when it comes to my goals, my crafty goals for the year, for 2016, I did about half. I have a huge list that I made, well, not huge, but I have a really like very detailed kind of list that I made that has a bunch of bullet points on it. And I did about half. Some of the items were like ongoing, like do this every month or make 24 of these, that kind of thing. And I didn't finish all of those, but you know, I had the issue with my dad come up during the summer, and yeah, I wasn't really concerned about my goals at that point, so I'm fine with it. You know, it's fine. I'm not going to beat myself up because I didn't finish everything or I didn't do exactly every single thing that I said I was going to or said I wanted to do. Overall, I'm actually really happy with my progress considering everything that happened. I'm actually surprised I did as much as I did. So rather than focus on the stuff I didn't kind of get done, I'm just going to talk about the stuff that I did get done because I don't know, that's just what I want to do. So I'll just go through these really quickly. I finished what I was calling the Never Ending Blanket. It has an N now, so I have to change the name. I finished that last week, actually. That's the chevron, the purple and green chevron blanket. Make 2 cardigans or sweaters for myself. I did that. I finished them. They are not blocked. Neither one of them have been officially blocked, but I have wore them, so they're ready to be blocked. I just have to actually do it. But like everything's done, ends are woven in, all that good stuff. And I did the Flaming June cardigan by Sharon Amos and the Viatori by Julia Farwell Clay. If you watch the show and tell videos, I've talked about those for a long time, especially the Flaming June one. I started that one in January 2016, and I finished it. I don't know if I finished it in December or if I finished it in November. I can't remember now, but it's done. I wanted to knit 6 pairs of socks for myself. I did that. I do not have them all with me, but off the top of my head, I'm trying to think if I can even go back. I don't even think I could go back and go which ones I made. I know the last couple that I made, but I can't remember the ones earlier in the year. But I know I made 6. I wanted to spin a pound of fiber. I did that thanks mostly to my spinning wheel. I had spun some before I bought the spinning wheel on my drop spindle, and then when I bought my spinning wheel, it pushed me, you know, way over the 1 pound mark, which, of course. I wanted to update my Ravelry stash page. I did that. The only thing that's not been on there, or that's not on there, is this right here. There's yarn in that bag right there. I'm not put that in there, but I'm counting it. What else did I do? Those are the only things that I finished like completely. I did most of the stuff like I did technically organize my Ravelry queue, but it could use some more organization. And I did some more organization stuff in my office. what else here? Yeah. I made 12 charity hats. I meant to do 24, but so I did half of that. I'm happy with that. I hope to do more, but at the same time, I'm happy with what I did. Yeah. So that's pretty much all that I actually finished. Oh, well, I did have, like, it wasn't a yarn ban or whatever, but I said that I only wanted to buy yarn and fiber for a few reasons, and I gave myself some reasons. I actually did stick with that for a long time, and then something happened, and I can't remember what now, but I do remember that I bought something. I think it was I feel like it was in the summer. Now I can't remember. Now I think I remember, but I can't. I don't know. But I remember like I was actually doing really, really well, and then I think it might have been something went on sale, and I bought. It was probably the Knit Pick summer sale, to be honest. It probably was because it probably was because I bought. I'm sure I bought a bunch of sock yarn, so that did not fall within the parameters. And then after that, especially towards the end of the year, like my buying just was kind of crazy. I'm just buying whatever that I wanted to. So yeah. I did that for a while, but not the entire year. Yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff that like I wish I had finished, like a cross stitch projects and things like that. But I didn't, but it's fine. So I'm really quite pleased with what I did. Of course, I wish I had done better, but at the end of the day, I didn't, and I'm happy with what I did. So now let's talk about my goals for 2017. Initially, I didn't actually want to write anything down. I didn't want to have any written official goals because this year I would like to sort of just have like a general trend of not overthinking things, not overanalyzing, not over worrying about stuff that I have zero control over. I just kind of want things to be a little bit more free. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. It's more of a mindset that I'm trying to like put myself into, but I tend to like, I guess the best way to put it is I tend to get in the way of myself. So if something happens, I always think about like the next steps. Like I'll be 10 steps ahead. It's great in some instances, but it does kind of make me get in the way of myself sometimes, or it makes me get overwhelmed and then I kind of freeze up for some reason. So I kind of want to let that go whenever possible and just kind of take things as they come, I guess. It's probably the best way to put it. But that being said, I did end up writing down a few things because I do have some goals that I have and I like a list. So what do I have here? I just jotted them down on whatever was close, which happened to be the back of an envelope. I will do like a prettier thing probably later, but again, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself about that stuff. It's fine. I have 6 things. Yes. So 6 things that I want to do. Most of these are probably, I'm going to go with easily achievable. So, and they're all kind of craft related, these six things. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to make 8 pairs of socks. So, I did 6 pairs of socks for myself last year. I would like to do a little bit more. I think that's possible. I've got 2 pairs currently started. So, getting a little bit of a head start on there. So I want to do that. I want to make 2 cardigan sweater type deals again for myself. I think I learned my lesson with last year, and that lesson is no more fingering weight or like waist weight, really thin yarn for a sweater for myself. So I have some sweater quantities of yarn. I'm pointing over here, or gesturing over here because that's where they are. So I have some and I want to use them. And I don't think I have any, they're all, let's see, I'm trying to think of the weight. I think there's DK weight, there's worsted weight. I think that's it. I don't actually think there's a sport weight in there. I was initially thinking there was, but I think that's a DK weight too. But anyway, so I bought, I have some sweater quantities and I want to use them. So I want to do at least 2 for me. I would like to do more color work projects. That's one thing that I just kind of want to push myself a little bit. I love a really easy plain stockinette or garter stitch kind of project, like you're just knit all the time. I find that very relaxing, but I also don't want to get stuck in just doing those types of items. So I want to do more knit color work. I think it might actually be fun to try like crochet color work too. I've done a little bit of that, but I just want to do more. I don't want to say more difficult because I guess like that's just subjective, but more things that I maybe take a little bit more time for me, if that makes sense. A little bit more brain power, whatever. Then I want to, when it comes to my yarn, I'm not going to put myself on a ban because that's never going to work. It's just never going to work. It might work for a while, and so maybe I can do like a ban for like a month or a couple of months or something like that, but it's not going to be, that's not like a yearly long-term thing. It's just not. One, I have yarn festivals I'm going to, or fiber festivals I'm going to, and while you don't have to buy stuff, I know I'm going to. So, and I want to. So I'm going to. But what I'd like to do is just do more of like a stash down. I would like to have less than what I do now. So while I will buy things, I'm hoping that my output will be greater than my input. So that's I'm not even doing a yarn. I didn't do a stash flash video, and I'm not going to for this year. I normally do one at the beginning of the year, and I am not going to do that. I may do like a room tour at some point because we're going to be buying a new house this year. Like, I know I talked about it before, but this is we pushed it off to this year, so now we're going to do it this year. So I would like to kind of document the room as it is because, I mean, we've lived in this house for many years and I have a lot of happy memories in this house, and well, yarn makes me happy too. So I'd like to have like proof of that, and I'd like to share that with you guys too. So, but I'm not going to pull it all out and lay it on the bed and all that stuff. One, because I'm pretty sure I know I have more than would fit on the bed. I know I do. Because I mean, I actually did some projects this year, like some, bigger projects, but I also bought a lot of yarn. So, so I'm not going to pull it out. At least not yet. Maybe I'll pull it out at some other point, but not at this point. I'm looking at it over there. It's looking at me. It's looking at me. I do want to use it up because I really, I bought it because I liked it, because I wanted to use it, so I'm going to do that. And I think one of the things I would really like to kind of restrain myself a bit about is sock yarn. I have a lot of sock yarn specifically for socks that I'm like, I'm going to make socks out of this yarn. Well, I mean, I have enough to do like 3 years at least of socks without ever buying another skein of sock yarn. And that's with making like socks often, and maybe that would be like the most that that's what I did like the most. So yeah, I don't want to have, I mean, I love sock yarn, it's very pretty, but I also really want the socks that are made with the yarn, and that is more important to me than just having a bunch of very beautiful yarn in my stash just waiting to be knit up. So, because I like hand knit socks, it's like, I don't know, if you've never had hand knit socks or crocheted, you can crochet socks too. Oh my goodness, you gotta try it. They're really not hard. I promise it's not hard. If I can do it, you can do it. Yeah, just trust me. They're really, it looks weird, like it looks intimidating, the construction's all strange, but honestly, you just kind of have to wrap your head around what you're doing, and once you've made one, you will be like, oh, okay. So I usually, I've had a couple people be like, oh, I could never knit socks. I'm like, here's what you need to do. You need to knit child socks or like a stocking or something like that, like an ornament, because as long as you're doing the shape the same, like it's not like a tube sock, then you'll understand how it all kind of goes together. And that, I think, makes the whole process a lot easier. So yeah, I definitely want to use up some yarn. It'd be nice to not have to move as much, but let's be honest, if we move in the early part of the year, or if we buy a house in the early part of the year, there's no way I'm going to get through a ton of yarn first, so I'm going to just have to have bins and bins and boxes and whatever packed up and moved. But that also means that I will get to do some reorganization, which I find very fun and enjoyable. I would actually like to sort of reorganize my just like my system, kind of how I have everything stored. I think there's probably a better way to go about doing it. And I've kind of been dreaming, getting a little ahead of myself again, but a little bit thinking about in the next house, how I'd like to store my yarn and fiber, because I think it's going to need to be a little different than how I currently have everything stored. So I want to reorganize everything. So that'll be fun. And then the last thing that I have written down is that I want to use my planner. Actually use my planner. Because when everything happened with my dad, I pretty much just stopped using my planner. It's right here. This is the one I used for this year. I did a bullet journal system, and it's empty. Where's the last page? I did something. It was right about, my dad had his stroke at the beginning part of August, and that is the last time that I touched it. So I really want to use it this year. So I did a different, I'm going to do a different system this year. I was doing bullet journaling. I've done that for 2 years. I decided that maybe the reason that I didn't continue with it when I probably needed it the most, when I could have used it to kind of get back on track with the things that I really needed to do, instead of just like randomly writing like to-do lists around the house and try to keep everything on my phone, and it was just kind of all over the place. It was very scattered. I think that the reason that I wasn't able to jump back in it is because with the bullet journaling, you start with a blank page and you have to create it, and I didn't prepare like every single week or every month or anything like that ahead of time. So what I did is I ended up buying, this is a Moleskine notebook. I got the smaller size again. I like the larger size, but I really I like the smaller size too. And I think with the system that I'm going to try to implement and try to use, the bigger size is not necessarily required. Now I bought the Moleskine planner. These are a little different than the regular Moleskine notebooks. They feel a little different, for one, and it's it's pretty thin. Let's see, I don't have, well, I do have a Moleskine notebook here, but it's not for my planner. This is the one my husband got me, but you can see there's a little difference in like a regular Moleskine notebook. This is the large size, I think, right? No, the medium. I don't know. This size, you know. I feel like they call this the large, and then the big one is the extra large. But anyway, you can see there's a little bit of difference in the page because this doesn't have just blank pages. This is their planner that they sell. And it has, you know, it has like the basic thing of like an overall calendar. And this one has, I've not, full disclosure, not went through and like put birthdays down or anything like that. This one starts out with the months kind of all at the very beginning. So they're all at the beginning. So there's, and they each take a page. So January, February, March, April. They go through that. And then when you actually get, there's a few other little pages of random stuff, travel planning and that kinds of things. But then when you get to the actual week, it's a weekly view. So it has, on this side, it has the whole week, and then on this side it has a blank page. And every week is like that. So I figured what I could do is use this part, the page part, as I kind of was to kind of plan out my week. And then this is where I can kind of incorporate some of the things that I did with my bullet journaling, with like the overall like a weekly to-do list, the things that maybe don't necessarily have to be done on specific days, that kind of stuff, that I could just use that. And yeah. So I have used it a little bit, but like today's actually the first day that I've had to do anything because mini vacation, right? It's the beginning of the year. But yeah, so I actually want to use it, and I want to use it consistently throughout the year. Because when I use that, when I'm more, when I at least have some kind of, I don't want to say accountability, but I have some kind of structure, just a little bit of structure goes a long way. And when I just had stopped using this, it was crazy. Like I was forgetting stuff that I needed to remember. And at the time, like I knew, hey, you need to pick this back up and you need to restart it. But I got to a point where I was just kind of overwhelmed with stuff. And that's kind of weird, like you get so overwhelmed that you can't even go and do something that helps you to not be overwhelmed. But that's what ended up happening. So yeah. So I definitely have those just 6 things. And I'm sure I'll have other things that I want to do, but those 6 things I'm actually going to kind of pay attention to and make sure, at least for like the various projects that I want to do, make sure that like while I kind of am like, well, I want to make this and this and this and this, I always have those in the back of my mind because I really want those finished items. So those are my goals for the year. So there's just 6 of them. I'm counting again. Yes, there's 6 of them. And that's really all I'm going to worry about this year. Like I said, I just didn't want to put too much, I just don't want to put like too many parameters or too much restriction, because I want to be able to cast on a project if I want to. I don't want to feel like, well, I can't be working on this whatever project, crochet blanket, or this whatever. I can't be working on this because I have to finish this, and this. I don't want my crafting to be too regimented, because I kind of like I like kind of flitting around and doing different types of things. So yeah, they just offer like some guidelines just in case I'm like, hey, I haven't knit a sock in a month. Maybe I should cast on a sock because I want to do 8 by the end of the year. and I've only done 2 or whatever. So, you know, just kind of keep myself on track just a little bit. So what are your guys' goals? What are your guys' goals? What are your all's goals? Let me know in the comments if you've made any, if you're planning on making any. I don't think you have to make goals just at the beginning of the year. I think any time is perfect. It's always a new day. And so if you've not made any, if you've not thought about it, maybe now you will. But please go ahead and let me know what your comments are, or what your comments are. Well, if you have comments, yes, but what your goals are and everything down in the comment section. And I will answer you guys back. I've been a little bit late on replying back to you guys, and I apologize about that. I know I didn't reply to any of the comments on my last video. I need to actually go do that tomorrow. But I really want to hear what you guys are going to do. If you made a video about your goals, I know a few of you have, but I'm really behind on videos still. But I will get to those eventually. But if you make a goal or resolution video or whatever you want to call it, let me know, and I will get to it eventually. All right, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.